Howdy everyone, Matt here with a new video. I'm trying out a new series here, calling it Tactics Tuesday. The idea is, let's do a 2-minute video every week with something short and sweet to spice up your pen testing, red teaming work, and that kind of thing. Today's is going to be about Metasploit's Meterpreter, a remote access tool that we use very frequently in the biz for just about everything. When we're using Meterpreters, we're getting access to one machine and then pivoting and getting access to another machine and another and a subsequent one after that. Well, each time we get access to a machine, it sends a brand new outbound channel, and a defender who's maybe looking for that kind of malicious traffic could identify it because each one of these new machines sets up a new outbound channel which creates ever more and ever louder connections. However, if we take our Meterpreters and we run them over each other in a peer-to-peer fashion, we might be able to get access to multiple machines, control them all simultaneously, but using a single outbound channel. Let's take a look. First, it's important to note what this kind of looks like to a defender. A defender can look at this from the network side or from the host side. On the host side, they might be looking for outbound channels by using a tool like Netstat, a built-in Windows utility. With Netstat, we can see established connections. The default port for Meterpreter, and this can be changed of course, is 4444, and as you can see here on this machine, there appears to be some kind of outbound established connection on that port. Now if we run this with something like WMI, Windows Management Instrumentation, well then we can see very quickly against a large number of machines in our enterprise exactly which hosts are compromised. But if instead these Meterpreters, these established connections, weren't beaconing outbound to some IP address on the internet, like this one is, but instead we're talking to other systems within the organization, the enterprise's network, these kind of connections seem much more legitimate, especially if we cloak them over ports that are much more commonly used, like 445 or 136 through 139, high number Windows style ports. Those all tend to look legitimate on a network. So if we have our Meterpreters run from peer-to-peer internally, using these kinds of ports, they look much more stealthy. Let's jump into Metasploit and take a look at the configuration, the settings that we need to put together in order to make this happen.
This is our attack environment. We have 2 Windows target machines on the left, as well as a Kali Linux device that we'll be using in order to gain access to the first device, and then pivot and move laterally to the second target, while using the first channel to route our communications over. We're going to use the module in Metasploit, Multi-Script Web Delivery, in order to establish a quick and easy session on those devices. With the PowerShell target here, we can type exploit, and it'll provide for us a quick and easy one-liner that we can run in order to establish a session. Here now we have our first session on the initial device. Now if we go back to that Windows machine, the one we've just compromised, we open up a command prompt on it and do that netstat. We can once again see that a channel has been established to our attack machine at our IP address, port 4444. If we do the same thing to the secondary target, this will establish for us a secondary session. And now on this target, we can also see that same netstat command is going to produce a new outbound target to us. This is fairly straightforward. Now, a common misconception that we see is involving Metasploit's built-in routing. For instance, if we say that the target, in this case it's going to be 10.0.0.176, that's our secondary target, who we would like to route our attack traffic through this machine over here, 10.0.0.182, we can do that from an attack perspective with the built-in Metasploit routing. For instance, our initial session here was Meterpreter session 5. We could do something like this. And now we've essentially set up routing to the secondary target using our first established session. Now if we use an exploit here like psexec, when this module provides a session, even when using routing, if we look at netstat, we can still see that the connection is coming outbound directly to the attacking machine. To overcome this, we can use a reverse port forward inside a Metasploit that takes advantage of an existing compromised host in order to turn it into a reverse listener and give us that full two-way connection. To do this, within the same module, we can simply set the reverse listener to the number of our session. In this case, it'll be session 1 from our first target. And then we set the L host to the IP address of that system. In this case, 10.0.0.182. And now we type exploit. And when this session triggers, we can see here that we have a new session established that's peer-to-peer from the first victim to the second victim. But inside of Metasploit itself, we can see that we now have 3 sessions, where this last one is peer-to-peer. It is worth noting that this is the method to do it in newer versions of Metasploit. In older versions of Metasploit, the set reverse listener comm did not exist, and you could accomplish the same thing by simply setting the L host to the IP address of that session. But in those cases, you wouldn't have the ability to pick what specific session existing on that other target would be used by Metasploit in order to set up the reverse listener. The system would simply do it in the background. Now with the reverse listener comm, we have a little bit more control here. And that's all there is to it.
This was a pretty short video, and not on a hugely complex topic, but something interesting, something that we don't always use or necessarily even know is there under the hood in Metasploit. There's so many different things there. Let me know in the comment section if this was a useful video for you, was it informative at all, and if you'd like to see more or even have suggestions on what other kind of 2-minute Tactics Tuesdays we can put together in the future. In any case, as always, happy hacking.